AL claws, variants, relics, and everything in between. Welcome back to The Existence. It's your boy OMA, and we have just gotten huge news for Snapshot 6. We've been given a date, as well as a couple of promo images, and an awesome little clip, and that's what we're going to be talking about today. Starting off, we're going to be looking at the social posts as a whole. So clearly these have got a very different vibe to Snapshot 5. It's a huge contrast to the icy cold theme of Sector 3. Snapshot 6 is clearly going for a more fiery and bright aesthetic, which has led a lot of people to believe we're going to Sector 5, being called the Forge. This is mostly based off of some images we've seen in the past, like this one, which we know is Sector 5 because when you download the image off of the Midnight Society website, it actually is titled as Sector 5 Zipline Extraction. So we know that Sector 5 has got that kind of theme, but there are other places that have that kind of vibe. So I'd like to propose another idea. I think we might potentially be going to the Refiner. Now, we don't really know yet if the Refiner is its own sector or if it's maybe part of other sectors. Potentially it could be a part of Sector 3. Potentially it could be a part of Sector 5, which everyone's calling the Forge. But I do think the Refiner could be a good fit for the theme of Snapshot 6, considering this image, which we've seen before, which is one of the few that references the Refiner, and it does match the same aesthetic. It's got that orange and fiery feel to it. I'll actually be referencing this image a little bit later on as well, but the cipher that we can see here, this actually says, Dispatch Communication Channel Unsecure. Sector 1, Gate 12, Dust Export in Progress. Security requested, deploying cleaners. Sector 4, Variant Engagement. Multiple fatalities, deploying cleaners. Sector 2, Sin Farm active. Body collection team en route. So there's nothing about the Refiner in there, and it doesn't even give us a clue as to if the Refiner is its own sector or if it's part of another sector. But I kind of feel like there's a chance that this is an image of the Refiner, considering the title of the image. Who knows? Now, as to if we're going to get a new sector or if we're going to get an expansion to Sector 3, I'm fairly confident that we're going to get a new sector, just based off the theme of Snapshot 6 being a complete contrast to Snapshot 5. I'd find it hard to believe that they would be connected, as well as the last page of our latest variant guide having this: parts required, chassis required, garage under construction, extensive road work underway, multiple routes detected. Multiple routes detected seems like a pretty strong indication that we're going to have separate places to go, which potentially could be choosing where you're going to go inside of that one sector, but it feels more likely that it's going to be a choice to go to two different sectors. As for the rest of the text, I do have an idea as to what it could be. Potentially, you will need to collect parts for your vehicle to then be able to use the vehicle and choose what sector you go to. Maybe there'll be two queues, one for each different sector. Maybe there'll be one queue and you just choose which sector you want to drop into, and maybe that's all locked away from you until you have the required parts for your vehicle. Now moving on to the video teaser that Midnight Society posted on their Twitter. Now, there has been a ton of speculation following this video. Obviously, we don't know where the video is taken, it doesn't give us that information, we don't even know whose perspective it's from, and we don't know who those three figures are. Now, we can take educated guesses and guess that that video was taken in Sector 5 given the fiery theme. I would like to assume that the video was taken from the perspective of a variant. Now, as for these figures, we've seen cleaners in the past in concept art, which has led a lot of people to feel that they're not cleaners. But, in my mind, I think there is a potential that they could be. If we look at the image I referenced earlier, specifically in the cipher where it says security requested, deploying cleaners. Sector 4, variant engagement. Multiple fatalities, deploying cleaners. Sector 2, Sin Farm active, body collection team en route. So in that order, there has been an engagement with variants, there are multiple fatalities, and specifically a body collection team has been deployed. So potentially there could be specialized classes of cleaners whose only job is to go and collect dead variants, dead cleaners, dead whatever's inside of the tower. Maybe that is their prime directive. And with that, what's to say that these figures aren't those specialized units? We know that the tower has access to sin farms, which means that likely they have access to advanced technology. So what's to say that these figures we see that clearly have more advanced technology than we currently have aren't cleaners. This is slightly more supported by something the doc said a little while back in one of his streams. And I've got to say a massive shout out to Joker for figuring this out before I'd even considered it. He found the clip, he got it into his video, he's done an absolutely amazing video talking about this mechanic, so I'd really recommend going and watching some of his content because it's fantastic. And I want to say a huge thank you to him for pointing this out and sparking this idea in my head.
Let's just say we were thinking of like, if when someone dies, there's this element that comes into the level and it's like an event. And what it does is after a certain amount of time, it goes in here, gets that dead body and supply and takes it out. Or it like drops through the rafters and here's this AI element and boom, and then pulls this body and shit back up there before you can claim it.
So I think there is a good chance that these are cleaners and are specifically a specialized body collection unit. Like the doc said, maybe they are just there, it's a mechanic. They come down and collect the bodies after a certain amount of time to avoid loot just sitting there, and just to be this cool engagement that only happens after an engagement has already panned out. Ayo, so this part has just been plopped in here last minute because Midnight Society have just tweeted another image, another little teaser, and it adds to the story. So you can kind of make out those same figures again with this accompanying tweet. I feel like this all but confirms AI. Nothing's guaranteed, but last time Midnight Society hinted at something else being in the tower, we all guessed it would be opening up access, more people will get availability to get into the tower, and that happened. So I feel like if they're hinting again at something new in the tower, and we know it's not tower keys because Rob has said before in interviews there's no plans for new tower keys, I feel like AI is pretty much the best expectation here. So the last thing on the agenda is actually the Capture the Dev event poster. Now this wasn't a Snapshot 6 specific poster, but it is leading up to Snapshot 6, and there is some stuff in there that we can kind of take as little hints as of what could be coming. So first things first, the training dummy wearing the vest, people have speculated that it's going to be a return to the hideout, that these training dummies are going to be able to have vests on so that we can test weapons, damage against vests, and different tiers of armor. Nothing to add there. I feel like that's probably the best assumption. After that, there's the frag grenade right next to the smoke grenades that we already have. Again, not really much to add there. But the helmets, right there with the question marks for the visors, this has led to a lot of theories. Two main ones that I quite like. The first one, people are hoping it hints at squads. Now, I pray that it is a hint at squads. Nothing would make me happier. Now, it's a common sentiment that at the moment, the average lobby sizes are too small to support squads. And that could be true. And a lot of people are taking that as the reason why squads can't be coming, because there isn't the player base there. Now, in my opinion, it's quite the opposite. I'd hope that squads would be a tool that we're using to encourage more players. So for all of those people that are still playing, because you can still get lobbies quite frequently now, that means there is a player base there, and we know that there is around at least 8,000-9,000 variants who have access, as well as all of the tower key holders. There are players there that have access. And now for all of those people that are playing now, all this would mean is that instead of them coming in on their own and hoping for games, they would invite 2-3 friends with them. And if everyone was doing that, we would see a general increase in lobby sizes. If the option is there to have an actual squad, you have a reason to bring people in with you. Now, that is my hope. I hope it's squads. I really am excited for the idea of having squads. I don't actually think it will be squads. I think it's more likely either just a design aspect of the poster, it was just there to hint at figuring out who those devs are, which was a part of the event, or another idea that was proposed, and I cannot for the life of me remember who proposed it, so if they end up seeing this video, thank you, it's a wicked idea. What if those helmets are displaying a question mark because they're waiting for a visor chip to be inserted? So instead of it being a case of those are actual usable helmets, what if they are display helmets? They go in your hideout. When you extract with another variant's chip, you shove it in there and you display it in your hideout. Almost like a trophy, something to be proud of. Genuinely think that's an awesome idea, and I actually kind of hope both of these ideas come true. I hope that we get squads, and I hope that we get that display of the visor concept. I think it's an awesome idea. I also think this will line up quite nicely with the multiple routes image. Obviously, it's based around the car. It's based around the car having multiple routes heading into the tower, and of course we head into the tower from our hideout. So having those things as display items, would obviously be in the hideout. Having that dummy being in the firing range, which we know is in the hideout, and having multiple routes which we have to leave the hideout to get there, I feel like it's a good chance that we might be seeing the hideout sooner than everyone thinks. I really hope you guys enjoyed the video. If you have any ideas or theories of your own, feel free to comment them down below. I'd love to read them and reply and just get a conversation going. If you want to talk to me more directly, head over to my Twitter. I'm there pretty much every day. I spend my life on Twitter. And if you want real live interaction, head over to my Twitch. I'm live there Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays from 8 PM my time, which is BST or GMT, depending on the time of the year. And I'd be happy to talk to everyone about DEADROP. I can talk about DEADROP all day long. But for now, I'll see you guys later, and I'll see you all in the existence.